pledge led by Mr. Glasscock, followed by a moment of silence. If you do not wish to participate, you may stay seated. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seated. I want to note that Mrs. Porter and Mrs. Nice are not able to be here this evening, and Mr. Price is participating by phone. First thing on the agenda, next thing is the public hearing concerning the 2024-25 school calendar.
Okay, the calendar committee was made up of people from all schools, and we went through 3 or 4 different calendars to come up with a couple of options that went out for public vote. And we do have a clear winner, but I'll go through the process here so everybody understands what happened. The code says that we have to submit a calendar to approval for the state superintendent. We have to have 2 public hearings, of which this is one. 180 days of instruction. We have a 48-week maximum window. That's by code. And it tells us when we can release seniors and when we can have, when faculty senate meetings have to occur, and both of the calendars that went out for vote met all those requirements because the state won't let you design one that is not. There are 20 non-instructional days included in that calendar, various legal holidays, 6 OS days is mandated by code, and 4 of those must be after the 130th day of school. That also gives us time for 5 days of staff development, a prep day before and after school starts, also required by code. It's option 1, and this is a little hard to read for anybody out there, but they're very similar. One of the requests, especially on the high school side, was to finish the first semester at Christmas break. We always seem to end up with a weird calendar where there's like 6 or 7 days left after Christmas break to finish the semester. That's really not ideal for a high school with exams and everything. So we were able to get it in there so that we had the whole first semester done when we finished for Christmas break. The option 1 has a few less days scattered and has just Good Friday and Easter Monday off. Then option 2 has a few days scattered and has Thursday, Friday, and Monday centered around Easter off. And the voting was very clear. The calendar number 2 won by almost 100 votes in the public and staff vote, and that was out for a week and a half on social media and various places for folks to make their voice known. It's almost 100 votes, so it's a pretty clear choice at this point. And then, as we've been doing for the past several years, we talked about non-traditional instructional days, and most people call them snow packet days. It allows us to have our kids do their work from home for 5 days and have it count as instructional time. That's the Department of Ed, and you just have to have voted on it. And as you can see, 430 were in favor and 84 were against. So that application actually was approved today for us to do our snow packet or non-traditional instructional days. So looking at the calendar that won, Teachers First Day, August 12th, the 12th and the 16th, Faculty Senate and Professional Learning Days. Our students would return August 19th, the first semester over December 20th, instruction done on May 29th, and the prep day for teachers of closing of school June 2nd. And because of the way we accrue time, we still have our ability to have a couple snow days that we don't have to make up with that calendar, and our PD days are in there. Some things that are not on there that don't have to go to the state, we'll probably have a few 2-hour early dismissals to make room for parent-teacher conferences so that folks have a chance to do that. That being said, if there are any questions, it's an open public hearing, I'd be glad to answer them. And there are copies of the calendar at the table. And we'll have a second hearing if you look at it and have a question, and for that matter, if you look at it and have a question, just want to give me a call at the board office, I'll be happy to explain how the calendar worked out. So, thank you.
Next thing is delegations. We do not have any today. Superintendent's information. Do you have anything?
We don't have anything at this time.
Okay.
Under Superintendent's recommendation, approval of minutes. Approval of minutes, regular meeting April 9th and statutory April 16th of 2024. Do I have a motion for approval of minutes?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Glasscock, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Castello. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Under the next section of personnel matters, we do have a change in there. When we get to the probationary section, Savannah Smallwood, thank you, and Grace Steele, it should be listed that they'll be at Shortline School. But other than that, everything else is the same as listed there. So we have that for personnel, the professional personnel, the reconfiguration, the leave of absence, the appointment of treasurer, reemployment of professional service personnel going from probationary to continuing contract, service personnel at all the different schools, custodians and all, reemployment of probationary, professional, and service personnel for the 24-25 school year, service personnel for that also, books, bus operators, all that. Reemployment of teachers for the 24-25 school year on the basis of a permit or out-of-field authorization, all pending on receipt, though, of the appropriate state certification, and those are listed there, too. Okay. I will move for approval of the superintendent's recommendation as outlined under personnel matters. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Castello. It's been moved by Mrs. Bonner, seconded by Mr. Castello. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next one, C, ratification of superintendent's recommendation. Consideration of possible action and/or amendment on the superintendent's recommendation that a service employee's unpaid suspension be ratified by the board.
I move for executive session for personnel matters.
It's been moved by Mr. Castello to go to executive session for personnel matters. Is there a second?
Second that.
It's been seconded by Mr. Glasscock. All those in favor of going to executive session for personnel matters, which is code 6-9A-4-5-2-A for discussion of personnel matters. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We are going to executive session at 6:07. session at 6:09. We left executive session with it being motioned by Mr. Glasscock and seconded by Mr. Price. It was unanimous to come back into regular session. So, could you give us your recommendation, please?
I ask that the board uphold the 3-day unpaid suspension of Leanne Stetten. Jamie Leanne Stetten.
Do I have a motion to approve that? Or to move that?
can't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Do I have a motion to, on that? Okay, thank you, Mr. Price. I'll second it. It's been moved by Mr. Price and seconded by Mrs. Spawner to approve the superintendent's recommendation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we'll look under routine matters. Out-of-state trips, work release, use of facilities. Motion for approval of the superintendent's recommendations as outlined under routine matters. I'll move that we, motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Spawner. It's been seconded by Mr. Glasscock. Any discussion? I have a question. I know you're clear out there, but you might be able to answer it. I want to say, first of all, I appreciate that the county office listened and did not try to send 58 people again this year, or 50, whatever it was. I do appreciate that you cut it down smaller. Is there anybody on this list that has gone multiple times, or a lot of times?
Other than me, no.
Okay, so then we do have the motion already made and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is there a treasurer's report? No treasurer's report tonight. Okay. Board discussion, possible action on policy BD. I want to start the discussion. I went back and reread it, and it does say that if we want something on the agenda, that we need to put it in writing. But we really don't have to change the policy if we want to still do like we've always done and say, you know, can we have this put on the agenda? But then after we do that, we should put it in writing and give to them too. But we could still do what we did, the way we've been doing it. So, you know, if anybody wants action on it, you can make a motion. Otherwise, I think we can continue the way we've been doing it.
Well, I think we need to leave it the way it is, because whenever you give the delegation a chance to speak, we're sitting here listening to them, and we're not able to respond to them.
Right.
And we need to be able to put it on the agenda that night in front of the public, in front of them. So I think we should just leave it the way it is, and
then we'll still follow up with putting it in writing.
I don't even know that we need to do that, because we've already made a motion to put it on the agenda, so why do that?
Well, I would think it might make it
Record
easy
keeping.
for her.
Record keeping.
It would be easier for them to have it in written form.
Okay, well, I'll go along with that,
Okay?
provided we put it on the agenda as we said in front of the public.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with that.
So we don't have to change anything or take action. Is there any other discussion? Okay. Then we'll go to board member committee reports. Nothing? Okay. Other items, policy 2322, West Virginia Support and Accountability, School Performance, Student Outcomes, Academics, and Student Achievement.
Nobody has anything to report out.
Okay. Date and time of the next meeting, April 30th, a special meeting at 9 a.m. at the county office, and May 13th, regular meeting at 6 p.m. at the county office.
Mrs. Vonner, I want to remind you, Mr. Lancaster asked me to remind you the meeting on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. That is for the public hearing, the second public hearing for the calendar, as well as the budget work session.
Session.
Can you repeat that date for me, please?
April 30th, Mr. Price.
It was on the agenda.
Thank you.
So it's the public hearing for the calendar, and then the work session for the budget. And that's the April 30th one. All right, thank you. Is there anything else? So do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Price's motion to adjourn, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Glasscock. It's been moved by Mr. Price and seconded by Mr. Glasscock for the meeting adjournment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned.